surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Well, I mean, it's been a challenge all year to generate pressure. So, we're going to have to manufacture pressure. I think we talked about that the last couple of weeks. But also, our guys are going to have to step up and create pressure on the four-man rush. We do it with simulated pressures, too, a lot of times. We did that in the game. We were able to move Stafford out of the pocket a few times and hurry him up a few times, which I thought was really good, even with four-man rushes and Sims. But we also had a few blitzes in there, too, that were good. So we've got to build off those things and do the job with the guys that we have. Well, I mean, it's been...
Yeah, you know who that is. That's John Harbaugh. He coaches the Ravens, and that's how they're going to solve the pass rush, I guess. There you go. Davis Robinson out for 6 to 8 weeks, which I guess is better than out for the season, which I think we thought was going to be the case after we heard that his foot was broken on Sunday. So, semi-good news? I mean, I don't know, I don't really overreact to it. But they've got 3 healthy edge rushers at the moment. It's not going to be Drake Jackson. Yeah, not going to be Drake Jackson.
Thought he was going to be our guy.
Yeah.
How did they let him walk out of the building
without
signing?
They said, say Drake, I hear you want to go to Washington. And that's exactly,
Were you there?
Exactly what he did, yeah. Drake Jackson signs with the Commanders, so will not be joining the Ravens. John Harbaugh says that maybe they could make some practice squad call-ups. Maybe Malik Ham can solve. I'd be in favor of it. Love that guy. Maybe Malik Ham can solve their edge rush troubles.
You can try anyone at this point, right?
I'm not opposed. I'm not telling you not to.
I say bring up Sidney Stewart. Just do it.
Right. I don't think they're allowed to do that.
Well, if they just
bypass the draft, I don't.
Yeah, but this is one of those dire circumstances.
No, I understand that. Like you're saying, it's like one of these deals. If you're from there, you're legally allowed to.
Yeah, basically.
Like if he was from Iowa, then it.
Yeah, he'd kind of be SOL.
Right.
Sid wouldn't be able to play until he gets drafted. But yeah, since he's got a hometown team that it also happens to have zero pass rush.
I did not know that this was a rule, but I'm interested. I'm not going to say I'm not. So yeah, maybe that'll be the case. Or of course, he said they could end up looking into making some moves at the deadline. Which I guess they could do that. There is that fine line that we were talking about yesterday with our buddy Chris Boombaka from USA Today, and then I know our friend Kyle Goon wrote about in the banner, which is how far are you going for this group? And I've told you my opinions about the subject. I don't think the Ravens are going to make reckless trades because the Ravens don't make reckless trades. And the guys that, like Max Crosby, isn't actually going to prove to be available. So the argument of you're not going to spend multiple first-round picks trying to fix this team. Well, one, if you acquired a player like that, it wouldn't just be for this team. But two, he's not going to be dealt. I don't think. I've allowed myself to believe in that possibility before, and I will not. This is a George W. This is a shame on. Fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. But we won't get fooled again.
Well done. You nailed it.
That's where we are.
Maybe it'll be Unique Ngakoue or something, He was tweeting over the weekend.
Oh, was he?
I think he tweeted something like, I'm ready.
When was he most recently employed?
I don't know. 2023 maybe? Was it by the Ravens?
Maybe. I don't know.
But also Jags fans were taking that. They thought they were talking about them as well. So
okay. Maybe.
Maybe we didn't. So who knows?
Couldn't tell you. What I know is the Ravens don't
But
have
again,
much of it.
try anything, right?
Sure. Throw anything at the wall right now. See if it.
Okay, he had a short stint with the Ravens last year.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, they brought him in for a minute.
Signed on the practice
Remember,
squad.
like when he spoke to the team about how grateful he was to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then he was gone.
He was on the practice squad.
He was
He sacked Jaden Daniels when they played the
Yeah.
Commanders. I don't
Yeah.
recollect that at all. I have no recollection of that. And then they signed him to the active roster before cutting him on November 7th, and then the Patriots scooped him up the next day.
Okay. Well, maybe. I mean, do anything at all to try to get some edge rush. We're going to talk to Bo Smolka about the subject coming up in a little bit.
You think he
later.
can rush the passer?
Bo?
Yeah.
I don't think he's got much. I mean, maybe he's got 20 snaps. Hey, we're just looking for some snaps, baby. What you got? And then Mike Sando of The Athletic is going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on the Ravens' entire mess. And then we'll preview Waiver-Wire Wednesday. I'm cooked. I mean, I did get one win this weekend, and I believe the final score was 77-76. I mean,
That Zach Ertz touchdown won me my matchup.
Oh, there you
I did
go.
a backflip afterwards. I
Did-
did. I didn't even know I
wow.
had it in me,
I
and I
didn't know you
did.
could
I
do
did a
that either. That's
backflip
remarkable.
after he scored. Yeah, that was pretty great.
I made a
It was pretty
trade
great.
last week in one league to get Mike Evans because my wide receivers are terrible. This week, my starting receivers, Jawan Jennings and Cortland Sutton, combined for 4.4 points. So I said, I'll go take a shot at Mike Evans. And I'm going to be eliminated before he even plays. Like,
Well, you might be back this weekend.
yeah,
right?
I
Maybe.
might be eliminated.
Oh, really?
I'm
How-
the Ravens. I'm 1-5. 1-5.
In my one league, I'm 4-2, so I'm okay. But
Yeah.
because I have James Cook and Derrick Henry as my running backs,
I'm not 4-2 in any league.
they're both on bye. James Cook and Derrick Henry this
Okay.
week. So my running backs for this week are Zach Charbonnet.
Okay. And nobody else.
Nobody else. Nobody else. So we got some some soul searching to do.
All right. So that's what's coming up on the program today. Today's show is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. In Columbia, 443-266-3505. In Frederick, 240-931-3717. For me, it's been peptide proteins. For you, it might be that you're low T. Sign up for a complimentary testosterone test right now, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Might be dealing with issues related to erectile dysfunction. You might be dealing with stubborn belly fat that just won't come off. They've got you. Game Day Men's Health, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. So, yeah, Tavius Robinson out for 6 to 8 weeks. Adisa Isaac.
No clear timetable.
Well, no, he said mid-November would be when he might be
but
able to
it
return.
sounded so like,
Yeah, but the point
November.
was just it's not going to be soon. Those were the only real like news items.
He said it's up to Ricard. Like,
yeah,
the way he worded it was
yeah,
weird.
that he's like recovered from the injury, but it's up to him where his strength-wise is, where he's I don't know. And if you were waiting yesterday for John Harbaugh to announce that there had been a coaching change, then you were disappointed because no such thing occurred. What was really interesting to me, too, is that they didn't really follow up, or not even follow up. Nobody really asked any questions about that. Like, just kind of took it all at face value from what they got on Sunday. Zach Orr scheduled to meet with the media today. So clearly he's still the defensive coordinator. And if you were going to do it, presumably this would be the time to have done it.
Or they'll do like what you said yesterday, and they're just literally going to execute him
I don't think
during the press conference.
You better be careful making jokes like that, man. I think that might.
You said it yesterday.
I said it in a different way. It's funny because there was I was at WrestleMania one year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It was in New York, and at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, some deranged fan came into the ring and charged Bret Hart.
Okay. Oh, was
And-
this the
What?
like was that staged, that whole thing?
No,
Or
it was
oh,
not
this-
staged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a legitimate deranged fan. And so I don't know. I was on the train later that night, just going back to our B&B, and some drunk British guy was like, "Were you guys at the Hall of Fame?" I'm like, "Hey, man." It's like, anyone who charges Bret Hart should be executed. And he just said it with such earnestness that I decided to put it in my repertoire. Like, anyone who I would just use it should be executed. And I made the joke on Twitter at one point, like, if you make a joke about blank, you should be executed. And I got suspended from Twitter for a week.
Oh wow!
Because
This was pre-Elon
I
free
was
speech
threatening
days.
execution. Sure. So
Yeah, but
I've decided that not that exact phrase is one that I'm eliminating from.
Okay.
Although I just did repeat the joke, so now I might get us kicked off. We might never be allowed to.
Yeah, but
use
you made it
social
clear
media
you were
again.
quoting somebody else.
I was quoting someone else, but still,
Also,
I used
were those
the word.
the old? Those were the old Twitter days before Elon gave us free speech.
I assume. I don't know. I feel like maybe even in the believe it or not free speech era.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be hard to believe, but I feel like it might not have been exactly what we thought it was going to be. All right. So, yeah, as far as news was concerned, I did think that somebody needed to ask, hey, who's the backup quarterback moving forward? And Cordell did, and John gave, like, the most half-hearted answer to that. Yeah, it's Cooper Rush.
Well, yeah, but
But
I look at it like we got two backup.
we have two backup quarterbacks. So if you wanted Cooper Rush to be thrown to the Wolves this week, I know John Little Rock was hoping for that, then you're going to be disappointed by that as well. Nobody's getting all of the blood. Everybody who's bloodthirsty is getting nothing. You're still thirsty as hell, baby.
Go be a Titans fan.
You're
if you want to
getting
be.
nothing. Yeah, right. They fired a coach. You want to go root for them now? You couldn't even name who the last coach that Brian Callahan getting fired was news to so many people because they found out that Brian Callahan was the coach of an NFL team. They were like, who? I was trying to make a Brian Callahan joke in power rankings this week, and I was like, I don't know anything about Brian Callahan.
He came from the Bengals, right?
If you say so. I have no clue. John was asked about the offensive line. As I've said, I'm stunned that the Ravens didn't make an offensive line change last week. So the way the question was phrased was, is that something you still could do? And the person, I wish I could remember who asked it, but whoever it was threw in Emory Jones' name into the question. So as you'll hear in the answer, he's alluding to, it was Brian Wacker, the Baltimore Sun. You'll hear that he's addressing Emory Jones' possibility of getting into the offensive line equation, but then just sort of talks about whether they can make changes in general.
We're considering those kind of options for sure. And that's kind of what the bye week is for. I think it helps you with that. Those guys will get a chance to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, which will be good for us to get those guys out there and see them. I mean, Emory, for instance, he's a young dude. He's only been practicing for like a week. So there's a lot that goes into knowing what you're supposed to do under fire and pass protection. He hasn't done any pass protection yet because of his shoulder, so this will be the first week he'll have a chance to do pass protection. He hasn't been able to do that up till now, so you can kind of see the challenges there with that. But we're trying to get him up to speed as quick as we possibly can, and so he's up. We wouldn't put a player out there until they're ready to be successful. That wouldn't be fair to the player or to the team or the fans or anybody. But as soon as we feel like a guy like him or anybody else is really ready or the best guy for it, we would do it. We do have a couple of veteran guys that could in the offensive line that have been practicing that would have a shot that we'll take a look at this week and see how they look. And that stuff's definitely on the table.
For what it's worth, I've seen a few players play this season that didn't look like they were ready to be successful. Just if we're being honest. Do feel like a few guys.
Yeah, but David Ojala's been in the league for like 4 years.
Right, that's
like
a good point. He's ready to be successful. He's just not successful. I guess those two are different things. Some people are ready to be successful. They're just not successful. I'm stunned that the Ravens didn't make any changes, so we will see if they make any changes coming out of the bye. They're going with business as usual, and everything is going to be fixed, and maybe it will be simply by the return of Lamar Jackson. But that is a tough sell. I had a couple people ask me if I thought that John not making changes was his way of knowing that he's not being fired, that his job isn't at stake. And I think it's a reasonable question to ask. As I've said before, it's easy for us to say that his job should be at stake, but the idea of $50 million perhaps hanging in the balance, it's a question. and this is always a complicated. Whenever we have these conversations about contracts, I think people like at Penn State are learning this week. At Penn State, they're like, oh, it might not be $50 million that we're on the hook for James Franklin, because he's got to try to get other jobs. And there's like a term, and I apologize, I can't remember exactly what the term is. A duty to mitigate clause. That's in every contract where you have to actively be trying to get other coaching jobs. Because the way that these contracts work is if you get fired, they are on the hook for that money, but what they're really on the hook for is the difference between whatever you make doing something else and that money. So if, for example, James Franklin were to take a job at Towson, not that it's available, I understand, then Penn State would be responsible to pay whatever the difference is between what James Franklin gets at Towson and what he would have been paid on the rest of the contract at Penn State. So maybe it's not $50 million. I think Towson probably would give him like $47 million.
You think so?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Penn State would just owe $3 million.
And it'd be the same thing with John Harbaugh. Like if John Harbaugh took another coaching job somewhere, and everybody always says that, if John Harbaugh's available, he gets another job tomorrow. So if he becomes the Titans' next coach, then the number we're saying is $50 million, but it might actually be like $10 million, whatever the difference would be. Or maybe it's nothing. Maybe John Harbaugh gets more from the Titans than he would have gotten from the Ravens.
Maybe that's what the announcement is. Zach Orr's stepping up as the interim head
John
coach because
Harbaugh's
John
gonna
is
be
leaving to go to Tennessee.
Penn State, exactly right.
Or-
Towson. That could be it. But I say all these things to say, like, maybe he's aware that Steve has no interest in firing him, and so he's just saying, this is the way that I want to do things, so this is the way it's going to be done. I can't say that's impossible. Do I know that? Not at all. But I am alarmed. I'm alarmed that they're just going to keep trying it and hope for the best. It's not working, but maybe it will. It's alarming. It's crazy to me that that's the thought process. But that's the thought process. That's what they're going with. By this point, if they were making a coordinator change, I would have to believe that we would know it by now. I can't believe they would let Zach Orr speak to the media today and then tomorrow be like, you know what, we've been thinking about this a little bit more. Maybe that is kind of crazy that we're going to do that. I have to assume that everybody involved is on board with that decision, which is wild to me. And, again, to me, the easy thing to say is it better work out. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe John Harbaugh's job really isn't at stake. Maybe Steve Bisciotti has no interest in firing someone with 3 years and the better part of probably more than $50 million left on their contract. Let's see what Bo Smolka thinks about where the Ravens are and what we've learned so far this week. He covers the team for PressBox, PressBoxOnline.com. Good morning, Bo. How are you, sir?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. Bo, I'm in a weird place where I say I'm stunned or I'm surprised that the Ravens – I guess I'm not because John Harbaugh doesn't like to make moves like this, but I really can't believe – that for a team that I know you can say they gave up fewer points on Sunday, but that's because they got lucky that Matt Stafford missed some open receivers in the end zone, and then the Rams decided not to kick some field goals that were there. For a team that cannot generate anything from the edge rush department, nothing, not a single pressure from an edge rusher on Sunday, that the answer just continues to be we're not going to do anything differently, and we're going to hope that it gets better.
Well, I mean, for 2 weeks now, and maybe longer, John Harbaugh has had Zach Orr's back and has said, we think we have the people in place we need to have in place, and we kind of all waited to see, will he still be saying that during the bye week? Will a change happen? And as you said, it doesn't appear that that's the case. And so his word seems to be standing by his word. Certainly can be questioned some of the things they've done. The defense definitely played better this past week than the week before, but I'll also say, I think that, by the end of this year, several years, honestly, you could probably go back to that Texans game and say that was one that we've never quite seen something like that, where they've had to start 5 rookies, maybe the COVID game, where you've had to start 5 rookies, including 2 undrafted guys, and nothing looked right in that game, which is fairly predictable. It was better this week. It was more settled. As you said, Stafford did miss some shots. He had Adams wide open in the end zone and missed him. They could have scored more. They didn't. But the Ravens, to their credit, played better. Was it a case of trying to play for Zach Orr's job? I don't know, but I say the defense did look like they had more fire and had more intensity and just had more passion than they have some other games. Take that for what it's worth, but, John Harbaugh has said we like our guys, and he obviously is also referring to his coaching staff, and so here we are.
And Bo, it might be the defense had more passion, but I can't shake this. It's like and not saying you. When I say we're, it feels like there's a collective we're ignoring. They did get 2 sacks. They got a sack from a defensive tackle, and they got a sack from an inside linebacker. They got no pressures from an edge rusher. Tavius Robinson is now out for 2 months, and Adisa Isaac's not coming back anytime soon. There's nothing there. It doesn't exist. It's almost like my brain is hurting from this. You can't be a great defense without getting pressure on quarterbacks from outside linebackers, from edge rushers. It can't happen. How is that changing?
Yeah, well, that falls to Eric DeCosta, in my opinion. I mean, he made an evaluation this spring and this summer that they had what they needed in-house, and it's clear that that's not the case. And even before, obviously, Owe getting traded and then Robinson getting hurt in 4 days apart is a bang-bang double blow, but it's not like this group was having a huge impact before any of those things happened. I think Owe was clearly not happy that his snaps count had gone down. He wasn't playing as much. I think he felt like he could have been doing more if he was playing more. But as Kyle Van Noy told us last week, part of the problem is these opponents so often were in 2nd and 2 and 3rd and 2, and they're not even in pass situations because they're running the ball and they're getting in short yardage situations. But there obviously are days there are passes out there. Stafford was back a lot, and the Ravens got no pass rush, no impact from their edge rushers. But yeah, where do they go from here? That's a tough spot. I mean, again, this falls on DeCosta, a miscalculation that they had what they needed in-house, and they had 6 months to look at it, and they stayed with that conclusion. They've expected Mike Green to have a bigger impact than he had probably, but they've also been shuffling guys on the field and off. They obviously still have yet to get anything from David Ojabo, who they keep thinking obviously was going to be something. And now you're down both Owe and Robinson. So where do they go from here is a good question. They've got a couple of guys on the practice squad, but they didn't think enough of them before to elevate them. Malik Ham, who's the Baltimore native, who great story in the sense he's a City College guy, grew up a Ravens fan. He's on the practice squad, but he's been hurt much of his 2 years on the practice squad. And Kymon Rucker's an undrafted rookie from North Carolina who is on the practice squad, and maybe one of those guys gets a look. Are they going to trade for an edge rusher? It would be ironic since you just traded one away. And the question is, if you do that, I think the fascinating thing in the next 2-3 weeks before the November 4th trading deadline is Eric DeCosta a seller or a buyer? And if he's a buyer at 1-5, that's a pretty bold approach. If they split these next 2 games, do they start unloading the team? And then it doesn't really matter who your edge rushers are because you've kind of punted on the season. So it's a crazy spot for them to be in. I think nobody thought they would be in this spot on Labor Day. I mean, on Labor Day, they would have never thought they'd be in this spot now.
Yep.
So it's befuddling the whole way around. But ultimately, with this edge rush problem, I blame it on DeCosta and misevaluating what they had. And they had 6 months to address it and did not.
I don't know if I inherently disagree with you, Bo, because I think that's the largest part. But then I would say, but that's what this job requires from a defensive coordinator, right? Like you have to make it work with this, and it's not working. And that to me says you can't change the players at this point. To your point, maybe you can go do something at the deadline. I think it's going to be underwhelming, whatever it would be if you do something. And I think that's why I fault Zach Orr. Like, globally, is this his fault? Maybe or maybe not. But this is what you have to win with. Like, this is what you got, and you're not winning with that. And I feel like that's why, to me, you have to give someone else a shot to see if there's any way someone else could figure out a way to win with this group.
That's fair. And, Chuck Smith is supposed to be the pass rush guru, so he should answer, too, for why his guys aren't getting there at all. Losing Matabike is a big part of that, but that's not all of it, clearly. I know there have to be other ways they can get to the quarterback. And Chuck Smith, they've said all along, Chuck Smith is the pass rush guru. He coached pass rushers as a private industry before he ever came on board with the Ravens. And so, I think he needs to be held accountable, too, for why this has just kind of gone nowhere. But I get your point, and you're certainly not alone in focusing on Zach Orr. But, whether it's a fatal flaw or not, we'll see. But, John Harbaugh has been extremely loyal to Orr now for 2 years. It was ugly early in his rookie year as coordinator. It got much better the second half of last year. It got back to being ugly again the first part of this year. And I'm not sure it's going to get much better if they can't find someone to rush the passer, to your point.
Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, with us on GCR. Bo, the other most glaring issue, I guess other than the quarterbacks that they trotted out when Lamar Jackson wasn't playing, is the offensive line. And I realized Derrick Henry had a big game on Sunday, and there were elements that were better. I think Andrew Voorhees had a better day. They did a little bit more zone blocking. This is a team that was killed by some absolutely disastrous 4 terrible offensive line penalties that hurt this team and their ability to translate that running success into scoring points. And then obviously the disaster that was the sequence before the half and the 3 plays from the goal line. I'm really surprised they didn't make any sort of change last week. Like, I can't believe they're still doing this thing with the guards and just saying, I think it might get better. John Harbaugh did allude yesterday to the idea that it might change coming out of the bye, and I don't think there's a magic elixir for it. I just think pretending like it isn't a problem is sort of the weirdest thing that you can do.
Well, he also hinted there might be a change this week, or last week, and they did not make a change last week. The penalties were a big one, and you made a good point about that. I mean, they were running the ball effectively, and then suddenly you're in 2nd and 17 because of a holding penalty, because of another penalty. And so then you've got to get to your passing game with a quarterback who just is not throwing the ball well, and it's then you're stuck. And then that scuttled the penalties were a huge problem. The short yardage situation, especially down by the goal line, John Harbaugh seemed, really, really bothered by that yesterday. He seemed really frustrated, and he should be. I mean, he prides himself on having a team that can win physical battles, and they couldn't get 1 yard 3 times in a row. And he sounded ticked off that they couldn't do it. And so why can't you do it? What can you change to make yourself able to do it is the question. Why are these guys not consistently winning up front? Well, at that point, Ronnie Stanley was out of the game, so you have a drawback when you go back from Stanley. But the offensive line just isn't getting pushed. No one's getting pushed. And Mark Andrews is not, is driving into the end zone like that. So I think John was visibly frustrated that didn't work. And I think the argument, and it's a valid one, is let's say, just take a guy, Corey Bullock, who really stood out in training camp as a guy that they really liked enough to keep on the 53-man roster as an interior offensive lineman, guard, center type. Well, is he worth a look? I mean, is he worth a look? Can it be worse? Can you be worse than not being able to get 2 inches 3 plays in a row?
Right.
Probably not. So maybe Bullock gets a look this week. I know people are waiting to see what Emory Jones can do, the rookie 3rd-round pick out of LSU, who's played tackle, he could play guard, could play tackle. They're not sure yet. But, again, John Harbaugh was asking about him yesterday, and he pointed out that I'd be surprised to see him in the lineup coming out of the bye just because, as he said, he's not done a whole lot of pass protection in practice. And, again, he's coming off a shoulder injury. He had no training camp, no OTAs, no preseason games. He's only been on the field for a couple weeks. It would be surprising for me to see them throw him right in there. I think Bullock, maybe even Ben Cleveland, would be a better likelihood as a guy that gets in the game. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question to say, well, this isn't working. Let's try something else. And I know John Harbaugh hinted that, quote, everything's on the table. He also said that last week, and they didn't make any changes. And George Warhop's another guy, that the offensive line coach, who I think is, can be subject to some scrutiny here. And he's expected to talk today as well among the assistant coaches. But, yeah, I think he's answerable. Like, why isn't this working? Why have these guys not been able to move people? Because they haven't. Why are they not being physical enough? Because they aren't. And those fall on him, and it falls on them.
Bo, you alluded to the idea earlier of how far does this team go at the deadline, given the situation that they're in, and so it's sort of a twofold question because, look, they're still Vegas still really likes the chances of the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North, and the AFC is incredibly mid for the most part. And yes, the Colts are 5-1. I'm still not sure that anybody fully believes that the Colts are the team to beat in the AFC. All of that is why I do still think there's a chance that Lamar Jackson returning could save this to at least some extent. But how aggressive would you be if you were Eric DeCosta, knowing that this is the ideal time for you to make a move because it would give you a little bit of extra time to get a player in the building and get them ready, but at the same time, maybe you'd be better served waiting a couple of weeks to see if they at least get a couple of wins, get to 3-5, and then maybe you feel better about making a move then?
That's what I would do. That's what I would do because, first of all, you have to know, I don't see this team winning without Lamar Jackson. I just don't. And so you have to know, John Harbaugh said they think he'll be back for the Bears game. I'm not sure anyone convincingly or definitively knows that, but I've seen nothing from Cooper Rush to say he can take them out and win a game for them. I know that was the plan, and I know that's another one. Eric DeCosta brought him in, and that was the idea. We hope we don't need him, but if we need him, he can get us a win or two. I just don't see it. He's quarterbacked this team for 7 quarters, led them to 1 touchdown and 5 turnovers. And that's just not going to win.
Yep. So,
if Lamar Jackson isn't back for the Bears game, then I don't think it's worth giving away future to trade for now because I don't see them winning without him. Honestly, the biggest thing this whole thing has taught is how unbelievably valuable Lamar Jackson is. And when it's going to be fascinating to see when he sits down and says, all right, we're going to talk about redoing my contract. All right, what about those games back when I didn't play? Remember that?
Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating. This team it's just broken without him. And as I said before, though, it wasn't exactly perfect with him. And that was partially the defense doing as poorly as they were. And the defense still has to be decent to win even with Lamar Jackson. We saw that wasn't always the case. As, for example, the Lions just gashed them. But if I were Eric DeCosta, I am surely waiting to see if we get Lamar Jackson back and if we win a couple here. Now we're suddenly the schedule plays in our favor. We might be able to win 5 or 6 out of 7 with Lamar Jackson. And, yeah, then we're right back in it. I still don't know that they're going to catch the Steelers because they've put themselves in such a deep hole. And they'd have to probably beat the Steelers twice, and that's just where they are. But you're right, it's a mid-AFC. The playoff spot is out there. There's probably going to be a weak record get in there as a wild card team, and if they get Jackson back and can get on a roll, the schedule suggests they could, then maybe they can. But if I were DeCosta, I'm not making any moves until I see whether I have Lamar Jackson back.
He is Bo Smolka. At B Smolka is how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com. What's your strategy during the course of the bye as far as coverage is concerned?
Well, the assistant coaches are talking today, so we'll have some coverage, and we'll see what they're going to talk about today, and we'll kind of monitor, see, they'll probably be we'll see if they make a move to add or have tryouts on outside linebackers, what they're going to do there. They cannot go forward with 3 outside linebackers on the roster, which is what they have right now. If they're going to if they're going to just promote from the practice squad, they don't have any moves to make. But we'll see if they go out and have tryouts for linebackers, whether they sign one on the street. So we'll be tracking that a little bit. But after the coordinators today, or the coaches today that are available, that's the last kind of media session for the week, and the players scatter for 4 days. So we'll probably be writing some things off what the coaches have to say today and tracking any personnel moves they make
He is going to be doing that over the course of the next couple of weeks. Bo, appreciate you as always. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
All right, thank you. Take care.
That's Bo Smolka with us here on GCR. Are we breaking or we need to? Okay, we'll grab a break. Mike Sando from The Athletic. He'll join us next. We'll talk more about the Ravens mess. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, costasinn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens running back Derrick Henry and how the football legend has proven to be a unicorn at the position with the success that he's found after the age of 30. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg looks at Kobe Mayo's push to find rhythm at the big league level. And we mark the start of the college football season by meeting players from all 4 FBS and FCS programs throughout the state. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Unfortunately, apparently Mike Sando is not going to be joining us today. We'll see. We might be catching up with him tomorrow. It's good. I didn't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about something else.
Okay. Good. I'm glad it worked out then.
What are we going to talk about? Today's show is also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, 2 days away from the 5th annual Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill in Cecil County. If you've not been, I'm telling you, man, this is the year. Check it out. Just go experience it. It's something that's hard to understand, and I've been through it because I didn't know what I was getting into, and then I was blown away. Like, this is awesome. And I've never cared about equestrian in my life. But it's just such a cool event. The location's amazing. And learning about the sport has been really dope. So it's just worth making a day out of it, Saturday or Sunday. Got nothing else going on. The Ravens aren't playing. Maryland5star.us with a number 5 to get your tickets for the Maryland 5-Star, which starts Thursday at Fair Hill. A couple of things. So, yeah, I mentioned the AFC being mid. The Bills losing last night kind of adds to that. Like, every time you've convinced yourself that a team this season was just, that's the team, every single one of them has chosen to come back to the pack. And even as we've fallen in love with the Buccaneers. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot to like about the Buccaneers. Like, I don't think they're infallible. I just think they're a fun story, and at the moment, they're the team. And in the AFC at the moment, the Colts are the team. But everybody's mid. This is the NFL that Obama wants. Everybody's mediocre, right? Like, this, you know how it goes. The Lions, they were going to be the unbeatable team, right? And then, and so maybe it's the Chiefs again, but right, they're 3-3. Like, this is just what it is. You're good or you're not. Right now, the Ravens aren't, but maybe in 2 weeks they will be. Maybe the Ravens are going to get to 3-5 and we're going to be like, that's the best 3-5 team in the history of football. Now, when we talk about the schedule breaking, one of the reasons we think that is because they played the Bears coming out of the bye.
They stink. They're the Bears.
I mean, I'm still not sold that the Bears are world beaters, but they did go on the road and beat the Commanders. There was some conspiracy involved. Did you actually watch the replay of the handoff that
he never had
fumbled?
Control. No one ever had control of it, right?
He didn't even put it into his Jaden Daniels like tossed it. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, what are you doing, guy? Like, what is that? And I don't care either way. Like, I had no skin on that game. But, like, what a bizarre way, because there was, like, 3 minutes left, and they were on the other side of the field. They were leading. They were marching towards getting more points. The Bears only had – it was 3rd and 1, right? The Bears only had 2 timeouts left. So the Bears are going to have to – if they convert, again, only needing 1 yard, then the Bears are going to have to call their 2 timeouts. Just a bizarre moment to, watch this again. This is so weird. This is from ESPN, but it's some guy's Twitter of the ESPN broadcast. Are we going to be able to, like, he can barely, and he just loses it. Like, he does not put it in his hands at all. He just, again, I'm watching it. He never really has it, and he just kind of pushes it towards him, and it clangs off Bill's chest, and Bears get it back, go down, score, don't even bother to leave a second left for Washington to have a shot at a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Smart. They win the game. So, I don't know how good the Bears are, but that's certainly not a pushover. It's a Bears team that has definitely been better this season and has been slowly rising. And what to say about the Falcons? I don't know, man.
Apparently their defense is good.
Better than I think we realized it was. I don't disagree with that. And both, Bijan had a huge night, and Drake London had a huge night. They nearly got that. My God, they were a half a yard short of getting another touchdown before the half. Holy hell. I don't know what you say to him after that play, right, at the end of the first half. Do you say, you're an idiot, go down, we get our 3 points? Like, what are you thinking? Or do you say, like, I don't know, that's what
I was not paying attention at the end of half for the Falcons.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No, I was watching baseball.
Well, there was a lot going on last night. Plus, it was trivia night, obviously.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Trivia night in America, they call it. Trivia night in America.
That's what Mondays are?
Yeah, that's what I hear. So, end of the first half, the Josh Allen throws an interception.
Okay.
With 7 seconds left, I believe
this is our MVP?
Yeah, right? Is this your king? So the Falcons get it back on the other side of the field, on the Bills' side of the field, with 7 seconds there. And I'm trying to remember exactly what the yard here. I can probably pull it up.
So he threw 2 picks?
Yeah, right? What a loser. Hard. So they get it back with apparently 10 seconds. They got it back with 10 seconds left. Got it. 10 seconds from
That's an eternity.
From the Bills' 49. So they throw on first down a 9-yard pass to London, and he gets out of bounds. Clock stopped with 6 seconds left. So with 6 seconds left, they're at the 40-yard line. So it's a long kick, and I don't even remember who the Falcons are using as their kicker at this point, because I know they've been through a few this year. Is it still Romo?
Yeah, Romo. Yeah. Except Romeo.
Yeah, Romo, who's made some kicks earlier, then missed some kicks. So they decide, all right, we'd like to get a little bit more. So from the 40-yard line, 6 seconds left, short pass thrown to Drake London. He's wide open.
Sure.
London.
Sure, he's their best player. Leave him open. Well, I guess second best player. Yeah.
If he goes down, I think it's like a 47-yard kick.
They had timeouts.
Yeah,
okay.
they had a timeout.
Okay.
Instead, he notices there's a path, turns it upfield towards the end zone, dives for the pylon, touchdown.
Oh.
Touchdown.
Nice. All right.
Right up until we see the replay, and he stepped out of bounds at the 1.5 yard line. 1.5 yard. And there's no time. Used up all the time left in the half trying to get it. And I don't know. I know going into the half, Raheem Morris was asked about it, and he was like, it's hard to criticize a guy trying to make a play. But so that would have been, if he goes down, they've got the ball. They've got a 47-yard kick to get 3 points.
He stepped out of bounds.
Stepped out of bounds. And it was clear. It wasn't particularly close. It was actually kind of bad that they originally called it a touchdown, because when you see it, it's definitely not a touchdown.
Man.
Now, again, it doesn't matter in the end. If they had lost the game by 3 points, we're going to be talking about it.
They go up by 3 touchdowns. Yeah, it's
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I have no idea how much you get after Drake London about that versus saying, hey, you had a chance. You came within inches of getting the touchdown. You understand that decision. That's not easy. Ultimately, the Falcons win, and as I mentioned, the Bears win to wrap up Week 6. And then the baseball last night was kind of crazy. I did watch the majority of the Mariners-Blue Jays game, and both pitchers looked like they had no interest in pitching. Savage got roughed up, gives up the 3-run homer that was Polanco right in the first inning. And then, what's his face? Logan Gilbert comes right back.
Sorry, it's Julio in the
Julio in the first.
Go ahead later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Naylor hit another one after that. So then in the bottom of the first, Logan Gilbert gives 2 of them right back. It's just I'm good.
Who needs him?
Yeah, right. So nobody seemed to have any interest in pitching. But then Gilbert settled in a little bit. They pulled Savage. And then all hell broke loose, and the Mariners go on to win 10-3, and they take a 2-0 series lead. I did do some math on this. It has been since 1996 that a team has come back from down 2-0 in a 7-game series when they've lost both first 2 games at home. That was the 96 World Series, which I like to pretend never happened, because the Yankees dropped games 1 and 2, and then went to Atlanta and won the next 3, and
that was the last
won
time
the World
the
Series.
team
It's the last time
back.
this is now. There have been other oddities that have occurred. We remember, we remember a couple years ago when the Nationals won the first 2 on the road, then lost 3 at home, and then won games 6 and 7 on the road.
Yeah.
And there was a 7-game World Series with neither team winning a home game, which is insane, but that is a thing that occurred. It has never happened in the championship series round. No team has ever won a championship series when losing the first 2 games at home. It's happened 3 times in the World Series. So there is some precedent for it occurring, but it don't look great for the Blue Jays after losing Game 2 at home. And nobody's winning at home right now because the Brewers lost 2-1 last night. Blake Snell was the real story of the game, going 8 shutout innings, allowing just 1 hit. And as a lot of people in hindsight question, why did Dave Roberts not let Blake Snell just finish the game?
How many pitches was he at?
I don't remember, but he was unhittable. I was asleep at this point because I had to be up at 3:45 today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I was wondering what you were doing here.
Running on fumes.
You've been here since 3:45?
No, I haven't been here since 3:45. By the way, my favorite thing, so on Sunday night, my phone...
Snell was at 103.
All right, yeah, I guess you can't really put him back out there.
Yeah, but he's
I know he's cruising, right? What are you doing? So anyway, and then they nearly bring in the tying run. Bryce Terang, of all the things, bases loaded, ball's coming right at his leg, and he
jumps out of the
moves out of the way, and it would have tied the game up in the bottom of the 9th. Oh, that's killer. But the only thing that everybody seems to want to talk about from the game happened in the 4th inning when the bases were loaded and Max Muncy blasted what looked like it was going to be a grand slam to center field.
Do we want to listen to it or?
I think we're okay. As long as, is it going to go? Because it's a long play. I don't know how. All right, we'll give it a shot. No?
I mean, I'll cut it out. I can cut it off right at our 30-second mark here.
So this is from TBS last night. Max Muncy, centimeters away from a grand slam. Instead, well, here you go.
Ball pitcher. Brewers set up for 2. And Muncy skies one to center field. Hit well. This one's got a chance. Freeland going back to the wall. He leaps. It's in and out of his glove, but he caught it. And now chaos on the bases. Might have a play at the plate. The throw. Not in time. No, he's out. He's out. It's a forced play at the plate. Also, did he leave early? Once it hits the glove, you can leave.
So we don't have enough time. We can't really show everything. So it's one of the craziest plays that we've ever seen in baseball, and it's frankly kind of a goofy thing about baseball, right? Like that. Yes, we can kill Teoscar Hernandez over this, and we should, but it's also a goofy thing about baseball that allows something like this to occur. As you couldn't tell in the original video, and none of us could, Max Muncy fly ball, which actually, in looking more of it, probably would have been a grand slam if Frelick doesn't get to it.
Yeah.
Frelick gets his glove on it, but then it goes off the wall before he catches it. Watching it live, we all thought he caught it on his own bobble. Like, we thought it was off his glove, then he caught it. As it turns out, if that had been the case, then it would have been a sacrifice, and you would have needed to tag Hernandez at the plate. But because the ball went off the wall, it was a force play at the plate. And Hernandez was out. And then there were 2 runners standing on second base, and so alertly, Contreras just runs over to third base, tags the bag, and it turns into a double play. It's one of the goofiest things we've ever seen, and it's just a goofy thing about baseball that this becomes punitive for a team. Now, as you see in this 3D, what do you call this? Model? Yeah. Look, Teoscar Hernandez deserves all the criticism he's getting.
3D tracking.
Yes, because he doesn't know the rules of baseball, which is a shame when what you do is baseball.
But
so as soon as the ball's touched by Frelick, he can come home.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the rule. The rule is not when it's caught. What he's caught up on is he thinks
it's caught.
The ball wasn't caught originally, so he's going to go home. But then when it's caught, he thinks he's got to go back and tag up. But the moment the ball touches the glove, everyone that ever was involved with baseball has thought through the concept of, well, if there's a fly ball to left field and the game-winning run, why wouldn't I just bobble it the entire way in so that the runner can't go home? Well, unlike other weird loophole rules, baseball addressed that. And they said, no. As soon as the ball is touched, then you can go home. Whether it's caught or not, the ball is touched, you can go. This, by the way, has come up in very angry situations in beer kickball over the years, where
I can see
there's
that.
more likely to be a bobbled ball, right? Because it's harder to catch a line drive kickball. And so people don't know what the rules are. They think they can get somebody who didn't tag up. The umpires it's some 17-year-old kid that definitely doesn't know the rules of anything. Then you got to go to your phone and you got to pull out and everybody's angry and everybody's screaming at each other and there's children around and they're learning curse words for the first time, and it definitely wasn't why Jim signed up to be in this drinking kickball league. He just thought he was going to make adult friends after he moved to the area for an office job. Like he's questioning whether or not he wants to be a part of this thing. Yeah, that's happened a lot. It's come up before.
Got a very specific situation.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Hypothetically. So yeah, kill Teoscar Hernandez over it because, dude, you got to know the rules of baseball. That's your vocation. Like you do baseball for a living. It's one thing if...
Well, also, I mean, they got 410 feet away, and you still couldn't.
Yeah, I understand that, but specifically because he's darting back. Like, if he takes off, even on the catch, the problem is when the ball was ultimately caught, he was off the bag and still had to go back. That part of it explains why he doesn't score even from a ball that was hit that deep. He starts to go and then realizes, oh, crap, that ball was caught. I got to go back. And that's what ends up happening, and that's why he's out of the plate. And then the two guys at second base, one of them is like, well, huh? But so the plans. But ultimately, it didn't matter because the Dodgers won the game anyway, 2-1. So they're up 1-0 in the NLCS. Seattle is up 2-0 in the ALCS. That's where we're at baseball-wise. All right. You can go ahead and call Joe. We'll take a break afterwards, I guess.
Do we want to listen to the AFC North reacting to
the Mike Tomlin thing? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. That was the other thing. Mike Tomlin's losing his mind. Mike Tomlin is really pissed off about the fact that he has to face Joe Flacco on Thursday, which is...
I would be too.
It's weird, man. It's a weird thing to be pissed off about. But here's Mike Tomlin from his press conference yesterday. Mike Tomlin was on edge. He also was... He told the reporters they were annoying him. I don't know. He's 4-1. Like, nobody else in the league...
Well, they brought up Joe Flacco.
No one else in the division has a healthy quarterback. He's 4-1, and he's still pissed off.
Well, the Browns have a healthy quarterback.
I mean, an actual...
Sorry. They don't have a quarterback.
Yes, correct. An actual...
They've got a guy that's healthy playing quarterback.
Yes, correct. They have that, but he's not an NFL quarterback. This was Mike Tomlin yesterday, losing his mind.
To be honest, it was shocking to me. Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feelings.
All right, Coach.
To be honest.
I mean, and again, is it weird? Yeah, it's weird. We don't normally see trades within the division, but we also know what happened here. The moment that they decided to play Dylan Gabriel, there's no reason to go back to Joe Flacco if it doesn't work out with Dylan Gabriel, and it's looking more and more like it might not work out with Dylan Gabriel. Then they're going to go to Shedeur because they got to figure out if either one of these guys can play before they have to spend another first-round pick on a quarterback next year. So they're just not going back to Joe Flacco. And so in one scenario, you can get something. It's a miracle that there's a team that wants to trade and give you anything for Joe Flacco. But there was one. And yes, it's a team in your division, and that's not ideal. My guess is if there was any other team in the NFL that was interested in trading for Joe Flacco, they would have preferred to trade him there. But this was the one, the only one. And so that's why the trade happened. So, like, I get that if Mike Tomlin said, yeah, that's weird, but seeming angry about it, like, oh, Andrew Berry, it just seems like he's taking a shot at Andrew Berry. And don't get me wrong, I get it. The Browns have been an unmitigated disaster. In general, if his point was, I'm not sure that guy is very good at his job, I get a little defensive of Andrew Berry because, as you know, I was once his supervisor. But I get it. If you just want to say, like, I'm not sure that guy can do this job, you got plenty of bullets in that gun, right? Like, there's plenty of evidence, although I don't believe that Andrew Berry wanted to sign Deshaun Watson to the contract that the Browns signed Deshaun Watson to. I think that was an ownership-driven decision. Still, this is a weird one to get this worked up about. Like, I love Joe Flacco, but I'm not sure how dramatically more difficult it is to prepare for Joe Flacco on Thursday than it would have been to prepare for Jake Browning. Like,
don't get me wrong. A quarterback with a brain and an actual arm and can move a little bit.
Yeah,
and
can move a little bit.
I mean, you know how fast he is.
All right.
I believe you shared his first career touchdown.
I did. Over the weekend. I did do that. Tyler Huntley wearing number 5 in honor of the greatest mobile quarterback in Ravens history. Joining us now, it is Tuesday. That means we preview Waiver-Wire Wednesday. Who can save your team? Mine cannot be saved, so let's not even waste our time. PressBox Fantasy Football analyst Joe Serpico back with us now here on GCR. Joe's brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel, the best place to watch all of the games this Sunday. The Ravens can't hurt you this week. Just go watch football and have fun inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Joe Serpico, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Hope you guys are not one of the unfortunate owners of a lot of these wide receivers that got banged up over.
Yeah, there's a lot of that for sure. Let's get to some of it because I definitely have at least Emeka Egbuka in a few places.
Same here.
Let me start somewhere else, if you don't mind. I'm going to start with the Charger situation. And a week ago, we were reluctant to be bidding heavy on Hassan Haskins. Good call. Good call. Should we be bidding heavy now on Kamani Vidal?
Well, yeah. So the concern last week was that Haskins seemed to be the next man up. Obviously, that didn't play out this way. Even with the reports that it was going to be Haskins that was going to be the one getting the bulk of the carries, and ended up being Vidal. Now, what this could be is just a simple case of, Vidal had the hot hand, and they just wrote him out, and that's part of the reason why he got more touches. The other concern that I have right now with going too crazy on adding Vidal is it was also reported that the Chargers are heavily in the market for looking for another running back. Who that could be remains to be seen, but most likely whoever that is going to take over for Vidal's role. So at least for this week, Vidal might be an option for you, but moving forward, it sounds like that's not going to be the case. And then it doesn't sound like Hampton's going to be back when his 4 weeks is up on the IR, but he will ultimately be back at some point. So I do think Vidal is a guy that you add this week, start him if he is still the starter by the end of the week. But at the same time, I'm not going overboard on fab. Let's say, 5 to 10% just to if you need him. But again, you're just not going overboard just because of the uncertainty moving forward.
I guess the question would be who would be the running back they could get that they would feel confident moving ahead of Vidal at this point.
That's the question. I mean, I know when you sent me the text last week, I'm asking about it. I said, hey, there's rumors that maybe Gus Edwards kind of comes back there. That hasn't happened. That still could be a thing. Who knows? Because there is that familiarity, obviously. So who could it be? The biggest name out there probably that a lot of people were talking about is, well, one of two names, I guess I should say, is Alvin Kamara, but then there was a report that they won't give him up, but that could just be, kind of speak to kind of boost up his trade value. The other person you could potentially keep an eye on is Breece Hall. He's another name that's kind of been floating around as potential trade piece, considering that the Jets are god-awful. What we saw from them this past weekend was dreadful. So maybe Breece Hall is an option. Now, I could totally see it being even, who's to say that once Chuba Hubbard's back, that the Rico Dowdle doesn't get dealt out that way. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, but that's part of the reason why I'm not going too crazy on Vidal, because based off those reports, it didn't sound like they were too crazy about Vidal being a starter. And let's face it, he barely touched the ball up until this week. So I'm kind of a little hesitant to go too crazy on the fab and then kind of see how this plays out the next week or so.
Zonovan Bam Knight. What do we make about that?
That was, if you had the alerts on, like I have alerts on for Schefter in the morning. When he came out and said that, I was like, I guess this is a thing now. So I made a move to grab him really quick to see how it played out. He led the team in touches with, I believe it was 12. Michael Carter was just behind him. Actually, Michael Carter, in terms of yardage, actually outpaced him, but the touchdown did go tonight here. So do you add him? Yes, of course. You got to add all these running backs whenever that's the case. A little bit more aggressive with him than, let's say, the case with Vidal. But at the same time, maybe you're going 10, 15% for him if you truly need a running back. But I do think, this is still going to be one of those muddled situations where it might be 1A, 1B. I don't think it's going to be a circumstance where Knight has just taken over the job. I think we're going to see both guys. So it's just a matter of, especially now that we're having bye weeks, maybe you can get away with putting him as a flex, but I don't know if I can ever truly start him as an RB2.
So I am down to I have two running backs on bye, and James Cook and Derrick Henry. So I have Zach Charbonnet and no one else on my roster, Joe. So I got Kenneth Gainwell sitting out there. Both Texans running backs, Chubb and Woody Marks, are out there. Do you feel are any of those three? Isaiah Pacheco's available. Tajay Spears is available. Any of those guys sound like guys you could plug and play this week?
Well, if you have nobody other than Charbonnet, they all sound like guys you could plug and play this week, to be really honest. The one that surprised me a little bit that Woody Marks is available. I know he kind of had that down week after the big week, but I'm surprised he's available. He would probably be the guy that I'm most leaning towards for you to start. Pacheco is the guy that I've said today, I'm just done with it. I would drop him. I'm just fed up with that entire situation with Kansas City. So he's not an option. What were the other names you said there? You said Marks.
Tajay Spears, Kenneth Gainwell.
Tajay Spears, I think, is a circumstance. We might see him start to take over for Tony Pollard. Even watching the game over the weekend, Pollard just doesn't seem to have the same juice that he had before. Spears, when he touched the ball, definitely was the more explosive player. So I can see that being a thing where Spears eventually takes over that. Now, as in regards to starting him this week, I'm not sure he's ready to take over just yet because it looks like they're easing him back in. So of all those guys you said, you probably got to start Charbonnet and Marks. And then I'm not too crazy about either one of those, but that sounds like the best bets you got there.
When is Brock Bowers returning? And if you're a Brock Bowers owner at this point, should you be playing or should be at least rostering Michael Mayer to get you through until he is back?
Yes, in the time being, you can play Mayer. I'm not as crazy about him. He just doesn't seem to have the same pass catch. It's crazy though because he came out as a big hype talent, but it just hasn't kind of lived up to it. If available, I would honestly, if Harold Fannon's out there based off the injury, go grab him right away. He might be actually the biggest pickup of the week for me, other than maybe Vidal. But if you're looking for tight end help, I'm going pretty aggressive after Fanning, especially until we see the extent of Njoku's injury there. But in regards to Bowers, trust me, we thought he was coming back this week. Again, it was like one of those coach speaks things. Even Pete Carroll made it sound like everything was all fine and dandy coming into this week, and then he basically was like a last-second inactive. So that was definitely a buzzkill. So could he come back this week? Hopefully so. But if that's not the thing and you're kind of limited to like a game-time decision, Mayer is not a bad option.
So when we talk about Harold Fannin, as we're chatting with Joe Serpico, PressBox Fantasy Football Analyst, and we chat about Harold Fannin, we're now at a place then where if he's available, you're going after him with like real fab money?
Yeah, because now we've been talking about it the past couple of weeks how he's kind of been an iffy start because he's getting a lot of playing time, but he is still technically the number 2 on the roster. Now with Njoku totally out of the lineup, it looks like it's going to be him exclusively. I mean, he had 10 targets this week, caught 8 of them. So it looks like that he's definitely going to be a factor. So he probably will be a top 8 tight end for me this week when I do my rankings later on today. So, yeah, if you can go out and grab him and add him to your roster, especially, again, with bye weeks coming up pretty quickly here, he's a guy that if he's out there, you definitely kind of make sure that you get him, and he's somebody you can start the next couple of weeks because there's definitely some tight ends that I'm getting fed up with, and he's one of those that seems to be more of a trustworthy type.
I want to release Mark Andrews outright at this point. Like
I put today on PressBox that you can drop it.
It's a painful place to be because you just also know that at some point, like Lamar just might start throwing him touchdowns again. But it's so frustrating. All right, you brought up some wide receiver troubles. Where are we looking if we have wide receiver problems?
The first one I would go look at would be Kendrick Bourne. Had another game where he and Mac Jones looked like they definitely have a repertoire together from their time back in New England. So he caught 5 of 9 targets for 142 yards. He's definitely the number 1. Even though Jawan Jennings was back, I mean, after the game when Jawan Jennings said he's playing with all those broken ribs and 2 high ankle sprains, I was like, well, that explains why the looks weren't really going his way and they're going more Bourne's way. Now, the only concern is Kittle could come back this week. That is a possibility. So that might take some of the targets away from Bourne, but we still don't know the status of Pearsall with this, with Jennings so banged up. It sounds like Bourne is still going to be the number 1. The only thing that could maybe kind of get me off of him is if, say, Brock Purdy does come back. It definitely seems like this is a Mac Jones thing as opposed to a Purdy thing. But if Bourne is out there, the guy getting most of the looks, he's somebody that's a target for sure. And then before you even ask, I don't know what to do about the Tampa Bay situation. I mean, they're down their top 4 wide receivers, and then just based off the numbers, you can't really trust any of the guys that are left over. Like, do you want to go with Sterling Shepard? He only had 3 targets last week. Do you want to go with Tez Johnson? Again, only 3 targets last week. Cameron Johnson, 4 targets. To be honest, of all the pass catchers, I would want on there is probably Cade Otton because he's the one that actually led the team in targets this past week. And again, with tight ends being just the way they are, we're trying to find little cheat codes here and there where we can. So, yeah, that situation in Tampa, I'm sure Baker's going to make somebody fantasy relevant this week, but who's that guy going to be for you to go out on waivers and pick it up? I don't know what to tell you.
How about we pray that it's
if
Mike
anybody, it's probably
Evans?
Shepard.
How about we pray that it's the return of Mike Evans this week?
I did see that. They said there's that possibility. That would be a huge boom. They definitely need it, obviously. But, it's just such a tough situation for them. But Baker keeps on rolling. I mean, it's not slowing him down with his top 4 receivers out.
Yeah, go ahead.
If Puka Nacua has to miss time, are we picking up Tutu Atwell? Is Jordan Whittington an option?
Tutu will be probably a game time decision again this week. If he plays, I like what we've seen out of him. When he has had to step up, he has done well. If he's out, yes, then Jordan Whittington becomes an option for you. It's super, super deep. Hopefully you don't have to go that deep into down in the waiver wires, but if you have to, he's certainly an option.
And then I know that you have Jackson Dart on your list, and obviously, we have to recognize that there's a there, something's happening. But I'll phrase it this way, because it's a tough time. It's always a tough time to hold 2 quarterbacks, particularly as you're going through bye weeks and you're trying to keep other guys on your roster. So if you're committing, who is it that if this is who you've been playing as quarterback, you'd be better off at this point if you had Jackson Dart, even if that means that you're losing the quarterback that you have?
Ooh, that's a good question, because you're thinking about quarterbacks that are probably in the range of, let's say, 10 to 14. So let me think. On top of my head, situations like, Jared Goff, he could be so hit or miss. Some weeks because of the rush, he doesn't have that rushing value. So some weeks he's going to be great. Some weeks he's going to be not. We saw it this past week from Matthew Stafford. I think the whole world expected him to be QB1 this week, and he really didn't do a whole lot. So potentially even Stafford based off the matchups there. What I like about Dart is he's got over 50 yards rushing in all 3 of his starts, and you've seen it. They're definitely going to make him a factor, especially at the goal line. And then when he scrambles too, he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. So I'm trying to think of other guys in that range. Kyler Murray's probably going to be out this week, but he's somebody that I'm trending down. Even Trevor Lawrence is kind of probably in that same range. He's somebody that's matchup dependable too. Now, my only concern with Dart for this particular week is because they are going against the Broncos, and we just saw what they did to the other New York Jets or the other New York team out there. But let's face it, that offense is just anemic compared to what the Giants are doing. So a little bit of a concern there because they are going against the Broncos. But at the same time, I'll probably have him as, like I said, probably somewhere between 12 and 14. And when we get into the bye weeks, which start next week, they come in heavy next week, he's definitely going to be somebody that you can definitely consider as a starter.
That's crazy, man. That is wild. All right, anything else? What else is on your monitor for this week?
I guess just what I said right there about those buys. There's only 2 teams on a bye this week, and they're kind of heavy hitters with the Ravens. Well, we thought the Ravens were going to be a heavy hitter, and then the Bills. But then next week we have 6 teams. So if you're one of those teams that's right now only has, let's say, 1 quarterback or 1 tight end, I would suggest snagging that guy up this week. Look at the matchups for next week. Try to avoid the bidding war that you could potentially be in next week when multiple teams are going to be out there looking for the same things as you. And we do have some teams that are definitely relevant next week. You got the Rams will be on a bye. Seattle will be on a bye. The Lions are also on a bye. So there's a lot of quarterbacks and tight ends that are most of the time rostered that are most likely going to be out next week. So I would always plan accordingly when you're in that situation. And then let's not forget that Monday Night Football is even weirder next week, where we have a 7 o'clock start and then a 10 o'clock start.
It's weird when they run 2 games against each other that we would all be inclined to want to watch. That's the.
I agree with that.
That's weird.
But the 10 o'clock start for now, both teams are entering the game pretty healthy. The Texans and the Seahawks, but say God forbid something was to come up on 10 o'clock on a Monday night. It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, at Joe Serp, that's how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com is where you find his stuff. Joe Serpico, appreciate you, brother. We will talk to you again next Tuesday. Thank you so much.
Of course, guys. Good luck this week.
No Project Game Day this week, obviously, with the Ravens being off, but we'll be back the following Sunday when the Ravens take on the Bears. You can join us immediately following the game, PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay. Myself, Rita, KZ, John was asking about, is there going to be a return of Andrew Stecca? He says maybe. Had some schedule issues
Fair
this
weather
year.
fan. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It says it's unrelated to that, but do you believe him? I don't know. By the way, a couple of the boys have asked, what's the update on your progress that you've made on my paying off the penance from last year?
Oh.
There you go. Boys, if you'd like to step in and help out Griffin, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I guess, somebody wants to wax Glenn. That's the big one.
Right. Well, who all we called?
You.
Okay.
You want to wax yourself?
We're doing well. We're doing well. We're trying very hard. Make that happen. Anyway, the point is, join us for Project Game Day. Tyus Bowser's been a part of it all season long. That's been great. It's all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn, Game Day Men's Health, and Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Come back in. I guess we'll do 5 plays. I don't know why, but we'll go over it at least briefly. Then a tidbit and tubular. Glenn Clark Radio.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along. You missed Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson talking baseball. You can find that right now by going to facebook.com/PressBoxSports, clicking on the videos tab, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's shows are brought to you by the Costas Inn, and the all-new Costas Inn now open in Timonium at the grandstand. They're going to keep doing that show throughout the playoffs and the end of the World Series, and hopefully the Orioles will have a manager at some point in there. That would be swell, right? Like, who wouldn't enjoy that? That would just be fun. So we'll see how all that plays out. All right, let's get to 5 plays quickly. We don't need to belabor this.
Or we do.
No, we certainly do not.
I mean, they should have won that game. So.
I still can't give you should have. Not at all. They definitely were not the better team.
If we flip, if
again,
our number one play could have been our number one. I mean, maybe it could have been number one either way. This.
Okay.
If they convert.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to spoil it.
Could they have won the game? They could have won the game.
Should.
But should, no. Definitely not should. By the way, John Harbaugh's press conference yesterday was doing his version of 5 plays. Like, he was like, well, if this play and this play, I'm like, yep,
should I have that ready?
That's where we are. My number 5 was the one out of the timeout. Well, not that one out of the timeout. The other one out of the timeout. This one was the one where it was 3rd and 9, and they took a timeout defensively.
I mean, you know how it is.
And the Rams,
when you call a timeout, it's tough to get everything
really
together.
hard.
There's a lot going on.
Right. And the Rams were at the 40-yard line, and the Ravens gave up a 23-yard pass to Puka Nacua, which got the Rams into field goal range and allowed them to get their first points of the game. Now, I can't oversell the importance of it. It was infuriating. It was effing infuriating, but it also was only 3 points in the end, and the game was still very much to be had at that point. But my God, you took a timeout defensively for a 3rd and 9, only to leave Puka Nacua wide open. Number 5.
That would have been number 6 on mine. I went with my number 5 was the other was the other timeout.
That was my number 4.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what you didn't have because I did.
There were some choices.
Okay.
I
had both
have,
fumbles.
I did not put the other. To me, the game was over by that point.
Maybe true, but also maybe not.
I hear you.
My number 5 was the other one. They called the timeout before 4th and 3. They first of all they give it to Justice Hill on 3rd and 2, who gets stuffed behind the line.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose a yard on that one. They decide to burn a timeout and then have Cooper Rush throw a ball with a 0% catch probability. Looking for Zay Flowers was nowhere near him. So
Yep.
that was number 5. You calling timeouts, just looking like you weren't prepared whatsoever. And I ruled that over the Puka one because I don't know, Puka's a great player and
but you caught a timeout.
I agree.
Wide open.
It was high up there. I gave it a lot of consideration.
That was my number 4.
Fumble so this was the second fumble. This was the end around one that I went with. I mean, this one was absolutely crushing, just because they were actually kind of moving the ball a little bit. I think they converted. Well, maybe they didn't convert a 4th and 1, but Cooper Rush had the hard count.
They were moving a little bit.
Yeah, well,
they were not like.
And right before this, they had the 3rd and 7 where like Cooper Rush was rolling out of the pocket and then completed a pass to Mark Andrews for a first down. It was like, holy cow, they're making something happen, and then they immediately go.
But they weren't like in the red zone. They were moving a little.
Bit. They were on the edge of it. They were the Rams 27-yard line.
I didn't realize it was the 27.
They were close. That one sucked. Wasn't as bad as the first fumble. That's where I had.
Yeah, I thought the game at that point, like you were down. Honest to God, once you fell down 2 scores, I just thought the game was.
Yeah, it was still the 3rd quarter.
I know.
You weren't moving the ball, so
I understand.
I had to put it on there.
Yeah. Number 3 is the pass to Kyron Williams. This is a 4th down play, a chance to get off the field, and this is when the game's still 3-3, and while you had lost some momentum, like there's still a chance here for you to. It's a 3-3 game.
Yeah.
And it's 4th down. Get a stop. Who knows? Instead. Obviously, it would have been a pass interference had it not been a completion. The 2-man rush, the whole thing, insane. Number 3.
Zay's first fumble was my number 3. Andrews had a pass interference to play right before, so they're backing themselves up, and then Zay's trying to Zay's trying to do a lot. He makes a couple guys miss, and then it was just a great punch out by Landman.
Yep,
and
the Landman.
Yeah, and I mean, just again, killer. The turnovers. Absolutely
it was number 2 for me. That, again, to me really was when the game ended, right? Like, the game ended in that moment. I get it. The Rams still had to score the touchdown to actually end the game, but that just was the breaking point to me, that there was just no coming back from after that.
Yeah, I had the 4th down, the 30-yard pass to Kyron Williams that they were interfered with. And it just, poor decisions here, like poor play calling with a 2-man rush, and then worse execution from the players on the back end. So, yes, that was my number 2. Because, they did score right after that.
And then, look, it's sort of cheating for number 1 because we're picking the one play, but it's really the whole sequence. It's really the 3 plays going into the half. I mean, like,
can't do that.
I know. but we're saying it's the one because that was it, right? Like, even if, in fact, it actually worked out better for the Ravens. If they had failed on the first two but then scored on the final play, that would have been perfection because then they would have worked.
And it still would have been our number one because they would have won the game.
It would have worked the clock. The Rams wouldn't have gotten the ball back. Everything would have been perfect about that if the Ravens had scored on fourth down. We, of course, know that wasn't the case. They did not score on fourth down. And it's in real time, I think you just need to stick with one decision for all three tries. You're supposed to push it 3 times, right,
or you give it to Henry 3 times in a row, and I don't think and try to see if they can stop you 3 times in a row if they can. I mean, sure, but since you try to get cute and you switch it up, that makes it. I think that makes it. Nothing's easy for the defense, but it makes it somewhat easier for the defense to not have to. You know they're like, okay, so they're tush pushing here. We got to stop it 3 times. No one can do that. No one can do that. No one has. Like, no one has stopped the tush push 3 times.
I don't know.
Or that then you're like, okay, now we got to stop Derrick Henry. So you're like, we don't have to worry about the tush push.
I don't know if it's like got cute as much as like you really are pissed off that you called the tush push twice and it didn't work. So you're like, well, this isn't working. We've got to do something else.
Yeah. I don't panic. Yeah, panic. Like,
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean,
again, poor execution. No one was able to.
But it's the eternal part of the problem. You can tell me that you think the offensive line was better because Derrick Henry ran for a bunch of yards, but it's almost like Lizzo, why an O-line great till he got to be great, right? Like when they needed the O-line to come through on Sunday, it failed them. It failed. If we grade on a curve and say, well, it wasn't utterly disastrous, okay, it was not good enough. Not close. There's nothing about the offensive line performance that makes you say, that's your group. They're putting it all together. They're figuring it out. Not at all. And that obviously the embodiment of that was that 3-play sequence. So the rest of all the penalties, they get the benefit. None of the guys that committed penalties have to worry about it because, like, for example, that first drive, like when you're doing everything the way that you want to, it's 2nd and 6 from the 11-yard line, and then you commit two.
Was this Stanley?
The first one was Faalele, and the second one was Stanley. Those two stand out to me like you were dictating the terms of the game exactly the way that you wanted to. You were shoving it down their throat right up until you weren't. And I get it, there were 4 quarters of football, but I do still think that stands out. Like, you immediately set the tone for we're just not, even when we have a better strategy, we're not good enough to execute it. But didn't make my list because there were too many other options. We'll get it up at glennclarkradio.com here momentarily. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. They are the thoughtful sponsors of County Sports Zone and countysports.zone, where you find everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland. And we are getting closer to the playoffs in fall sports. They've got you covered. Countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com.
We mentioned Blake Snell and the incredible performance he put on yesterday in Game 1 of the NLCS. Sarah Langs pointed out it is the 4th time a pitcher in a postseason game has faced the minimum through 8 innings because what he picked off, I think the one guy he put on, he picked him off. So pitchers, 4 pitchers to face the minimum through 8 innings of a playoff game. Of course, Blake Snell, and then before that, you had to go all the way back to 1956 in Game 5 of the World Series.
Don Larson?
It was Don Larson. He threw a perfect game, and yes. And then 1914, Game 2 of the World Series.
That was, of course, crazy legs Conti.
Close. It was Bill James.
Wait, wow. And then he invented all the analytics afterwards?
Bill James? Who am I? Who?
You don't know Bill James?
No.
Bill James is literally the godfather of baseball analytics.
Oh, is it that?
It's
Bill
not
James?
that guy.
No,
it's a different.
That'd be pretty cool.
I assure you.
That would be pretty cool if it was.
That Bill James is still with us.
Oh, okay.
Bill James is an American baseball writer, historian, and statistician whose work has been widely influential. Since 1977, James has written more than 24 books about baseball history and statistics. His approach, which he named Sabermetrics. After the Society for American Baseball Research scientifically analyzes and studies baseball, often through the use of statistical data.
Oh, strong baseball name, Bill James. The first time that someone did this was the 1910 World Series. Pitcher
that was
for
crazy
the
legs. That was
close,
Tungsten Armo Doyle.
From the 1910 Philadelphia Athletics.
That was I got nothing.
Chief Bender.
Love him. Actually,
Chief.
They called me that in college for a little while.
Did?
They said,
interesting.
Said, look at old Chief Bender over here. I was like, I just want to have one more.
There you go.
And I'm going to bed. Just one. All right, settle down, Chief.
Chief Bender, Bill James, Don Larson, and Blake Snell. There you go. Those are faced the middle 1 through 8. So they saw this stat yesterday. Jackson Smith and Jigba had over a 50% target share in their win over the Jags. Second game already this year. I think week 1 he also had like a 50% target share among the pass catchers for the Seahawks. It's the second time this season that he's done that. Since 2011, it's just the fourth time a wide receiver has had 2 games in a season, just 2 games period in a season with over 50% target share. The other 3 times, 2015 with the Bucks.
It was Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Mike Evans also 2015, and then I guess he started with Buffalo. Yeah, he started with Buffalo.
Started with
Ravens
Buffalo.
legend.
Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins had
Jesus
2 games
Christ.
where he had over 50% target share.
Jesus.
And then in 2012, was he a Jet in 2012?
2012 Jet?
Yeah. I think him and like Eric Decker were.
I don't remember who was with the Jets in 2012.
Yeah, it had to be the Jets in 2012. I'm just confirming, and that he was in
Brandon
fact.
Marshall?
No, he was a Bear at this time. He was a Bear in 2012. No, yes, but it is Brandon Marshall.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
Yeah,
How about
yeah,
that?
it is Brandon Marshall though.
All
Yes, correct. He was only a Jet. He was a Jet in 15 and 16. Okay.
All right. When was he a Bronco? Wasn't he a Bronco?
He started with the Broncos his
Yeah.
first 4 years,
All
06 to 09.
Brandon Marshall was like a star. What happened there?
Yeah. Well, he's got a podcast.
He's got a podcast.
He is pod. He's still a star.
All right.
All right. I guess that's good. I guess. So then the last 4 quarterbacks taken 1-1 have each had their head coach fired.
I did see that.
Year.
I did see that was the case.
Yes.
Well, it's also the bizarre, like it used to be that you would pair quarterback with coach. And now they're doing this weird bit where they're like letting the coach linger around and then drafting a quarterback. And then
they're like, all right, well, now we'll pair a coach with the quarterback
that we already chose. Like the concept was always like when you know you need to change, you change everything. You change coach and quarterback together so that the coach has say on the quarterback and that they are walking hand in hand from the moment that they enter the league. And I get that doesn't always work out either, but it just seems weird that there's been more and more of this scenario, which is
draft a quarterback 1st overall, and then
And
you
you're-
start 1-5 because you have a rookie quarterback.
yeah, and then you're like, well, that was the and then you now just have to find a coach that can make this quarterback work. And there might be some coaches that you take out of the running for the job because they're like, yeah, we don't.
I didn't want Cam Ward.
I didn't want that guy. Who are the others? Remind me.
So it was Cam Ward, obviously, this year.
Right.
Last year, Caleb Williams, and they fired Matt Eberflus. Was that after Thanksgiving or right before Thanksgiving? That was later in the year,
it
though.
was.
Like
I think you're right. Yeah.
Bryce Young in 2023 with
Right.
Frank Reich, and then in 2021, Trevor Lawrence with Urban Meyer.
Well, that probably not related.
So I guess that one, they kind of did it right. Where it was Urban Meyer's first year.
Correct. Like they did seem to do it the right way. It's just that they had the wrong coach. I've got a Penn State person in my life like that messages me every 5 minutes something related to the Penn State coaching search, because right now everyone is presumed to be a candidate.
I think it would be Matt Rule.
Well, that's what everybody thinks. You're in the exclusive club of everyone.
Well, can
He's
I
the
get
betting
odds
favorite.
on it? I want.
Like 4-1, I think.
Oh, so I still get plus odds.
Yeah, well, so like every report. Then
Take it.
here's what happens: is then you have a bunch of guys. You're really paying a guy $50 million to go hire Matt Rule. Like, who do you think you are hiring?
Dan Lanning. He can win in Happy Valley.
Like, my God, man. It's this thing where, like, we just assume that Penn State, for some reason, is a job that every person on the planet, like, I got to have that Penn State job.
Well, I would take it, yeah.
That's a good point. And I'm not saying that they won't get a good coach. Like, I think they will, but I think it's going to be a more reasonable hire. And if it's a more reasonable hire, then it might as well be Matt Rule, who, loves the place and cares about it. if you're between hiring Matt Rule and like no offense to any of these guys, like who's the Sumrall at Tulane, like why would you choose Sumrall over Matt Rule? Like what has he done that would make you say that guy's definitely more likely to be successful?
He's
at
made
Penn
a lot
State?
of bowl games.
I think he's made one. I think he's only been at Tulane for 1 year. Maybe it's 2 years. Like he's barely coached, and I get that as they have success, he's going to be a logical coaching candidate. But it's this weird like Matt Rule doesn't move the needle for me. Well, who does? Who's the guy that you're like gotta have him? And if the answer is it's got to be Curt Cignetti, then maybe you'll get Curt Cignetti. Like, I agree. If you can get Curt Cignetti, you go get Curt Cignetti over, Matt Rule. Like, 100%. You go do that. But if it ain't Curt Cignetti, like, today there's a rumor that they might go after Marcus Freeman. Like, imagine Marcus Freeman leaving Notre Dame, where you don't have to compete in the league, for a more difficult job at Penn State. You have all the resources you could possibly need. You don't have to share revenue with anybody. A network and you've been like, but you know what would be better? Is if instead of playing...
And the nearest airport was 3 hours away.
All of these slappies that I play every year, I have to play in an actual conference that's loaded.
Navy's not a slappy.
Thank you. Yours not a slappy.
But
look at Notre Dame's schedule.
USC, I mean, they're going to luck out with USC being ranked this week.
Yeah,
like
that's going to look a lot better, no doubt. But like Notre Dame hasn't played a difficult schedule in years.
What are we talking about? Stanford, ACC powerhouse.
That's a great point. Thank you. So, like, why in the world would he leave? Unless Notre Dame wants him out for some reason, why would he possibly leave that job for Penn State? And this is what I think, like, you are with these people that are like, you got to swing big here. Right, but, like, what does that mean?
Sumrall went to 2 bowls with Troy, both of his 2 seasons with Troy.
Thank you.
Of course, last year.
And then he's in his second season at Tulane.
Yes, he is in his second season. But he's going to be bowl eligible again.
Undoubtedly, they're going to another bowl. You're right. But, like, what tells you that he's definitely a better coach than Matt Rule?
Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing.
And he might be. I'm not even saying it's impossible.
I don't know. Does Matt Rule have 2 Sun Belt championships?
Great point. I don't remember where Matt. Oh, he was at Temple, and then was he anywhere before Temple? Was that his first coaching job?
I guess had to be somewhere.
I don't know. Like it's this bizarre. This is like talking to people about the Maryland basketball job. Not saying that I was thrilled about Buzz Williams either.
Temple was his first.
But like that was the type of coach you were getting.
Well, also the thing with Matt Rule. Matt Rule is the college football Buzz Williams. He stays at a place for 3 years and then.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years,
sort of, but it's goofier because of the.
Well, yeah, it's kind of got him promoted-ish.
Yeah, like the NFL is a little bit different than, and I would even say Nebraska's still a jump over Baylor, even though Baylor has tons of money.
Is Nebraska a jump over the Panthers?
Fair question. All right, what are we doing? Tubular?
I think so.
Did we not do that?
There's nothing on, is there?
There's baseball game tonight.
There's baseball, yeah.
You got that. And Maryland soccer, red hot. I think up to like the top 15 in the country.
Dang.
They play Rutgers tonight at 8 on Big Ten Network. And then, game 2 of the NLCS, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Freddie Peralta, the pitching matchup, 8:08 on TBS. And, that's what I guess if you want to watch the Capitals, they play at 7 on ESPN and Monumental Network against the Lightning. And the U.S. men's national team plays a friendly against Australia at 9 on TNT. Everything else, go to glennclarkradio.com. Non-sports?
We're not really nothing. Only new episode of Only Murders. New episode of Chad Powers as well.
Oh, man, we struggled last night trivia-wise.
Chad Powers actually looks... I started Chad Powers. Chad Powers looks fun. I do like it. I like it a lot.
Right. We got to... here, this was a sports question. Name the only non-European country besides the United States to have won a Women's World Cup. And happened in 2011.
Japan.
I was between 2 countries, and I went Brazil.
It was Japan.
It was Japan. I was like, it's either Japan or Brazil.
I mean, I was there. Had to.
Oh, yeah? Yeah?
But, I mean, I don't know why I knew that. I don't know why.
Well, I also remember the U.S. beating them in the final the following time. Like, I knew Japan was very much, but I just couldn't remember if they had won. And, like, Brazil had Martyr for all those years.
They gave you 2011?
Yeah, they did give us 2011.
Yeah, I would have got that easy.
Immediately, in a heartbeat.
I mean, I did. I just now.
Clearly. I can't remember what the other sports questions were last night. There was one, The Baseball Hall of Fame waived their 5-year eligibility period for this baseball player who passed away in 1973 on a mercy mission.
Yeah, well, that could have been. I guess that could have been anyone. Clemente.
Yes, correct. You only know that because you watched the documentary. Don't pretend like.
I think I knew it. Well, once you said mercenary, I would have gotten it.
All right. And I feel like there was another one.
Wasn't Roy Halladay? They didn't.
I don't think they
waive it
waived.
for him?
I don't think they waived it for him, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would they not waive it for anybody who passes away?
Yeah.
Now I don't remember if they waived it for him or not. I genuinely don't remember, but I don't think they did. And I feel like there was something else. We had the lead going into the final, but then we pissed it away because we just decided to guess for some stupid reason. I don't know why we did that.
Roy, he was inducted in 2019, his first year.
Okay.
Or wait, no, because that was still 5 years after. When did he pass away?
Yeah, well, when did his career end is the question. What was the final year of his career?
Final year of his career. Yeah, he passed away in 2017.
But what was
2013 was his final.
So yeah, it was still 5 years.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe some of that is it had already been 4 years, but I don't know. Whatever. I don't know the answer to this question. All right, let's wrap up. Thanks today to Joe Serpico and to Bo Smolka. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the
Aspiration
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com.
Mark Cuban jumped on him with him today. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They're still doing that, huh? Tomorrow, Rod Woodson's going to join the program.
He will, yes.
We can't get Drew. Had to settle for Rod Woodson.
I'm kind of disappointed personally. But
I know your brother is. Brother's going to be like, ask Rod Woodson about the Capitals.
What do you think Rod would do? What?
And then
Mike Sandoz is scheduled to join us.
We'll see. I don't know how I feel about that. Stuffing things
Yeah.
on the program tomorrow. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Nick's Fish House, the Costas in the Maryland 5-Star. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. Go Maryland soccer. Duke sucks.